Hi, this is Ray Peck. Just doing another one of my boxing vlogs, which I hope you're going to like. Sorry about the lighting in here and the fuzziness of the screen. I don't know what's going on, but hopefully the next one I do will be a little bit better. All right, I just want to touch today on got a good fight coming up on the 17th of February at the Manchester Arena. It's the semi-final of the WB Super Cup Super Series, should I say? Where obviously all these fighters are fighting for the Muhammad Ali trophy. But this particular fight has grabbed my attention, and it's going to grab everyone's attention in this country. So that's for certain. It's being labelled the Battle of Britain. It's between George Groves and Chris Eubank Jr. Chris Eubank Jr., as we know, is the son of Chris Eubank. And Chris Eubank is not an uncolourful figure by any means in his own history. So, if we're talking about a little bit of pedigree here, of controversy, he would be your starting point. Chris Eubank fought some great fights. We had some great nights watching him in bouts with the likes of Nigel Benn, just amazing. And then there was the tragedy with a fantastic fight, and then the tragedy with Michael Watson, and then finally losing twice to Steve Collins. Very controversial in the ring, very controversial in what he used to say. For those of you that have never watched any of Chris Eubank's old footage of his interviews post and pre-fight, and his press conferences, you'll hear him saying things like, "I don't respect my opponent," all normal stuff. But then he would come out with stuff like, "Boxing's a brutal sport. I'm only in it for the money." To me, he pretty much disrespected the sport. And he said as soon as he's made enough money, he was going to get out of it. But he seems to have hung around for an awful long time for someone who's just passing through. And then, of course, his son, who is very much modelled on his dad. They say the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. And I think that's a pretty good analogy with regards to Chris Eubank Jr. I think the difference being is that Chris Eubank Jr. is quite measured in what he says. He has got it thought out. So he's not as controversial yet, but it's early days. That's what I say. He doesn't suffer falls, and he doesn't suffer any confidence issues. That's for sure. He comes across as an awfully confident man in terms of his ability and in terms of what he can do and who he's going to do inside the ring and in boxing in general. Whether he lives up to that, time will tell, but up to this point he's looked pretty damn good, I have to say. He has had a loss to Billy Joe Saunders. Maybe he'll put that right at some point, who knows. But right now he's got other things on his play, and this is a much bigger fight for him than it is for Groves, in the respect that he's an up and coming fighter. He's got it all to prove. He's hungry, and this is what I think it's about. This is a fight that's going to come down to hunger, and it's going to come down to passion and will, and that's something that's quite important. It's something that I picked up on at the press conference that I watched today. So Eubank, he's certainly got all of those in abundance at the moment, which as an up and coming fighter you would have. You do have. You can't not have confidence in yourself. If you don't have confidence in yourself as a fighter, then you may as well quit before you start. it's no good walking through the ropes thinking I might lose this. This guy can beat me. You have to, in my mindset, you have to be saying to yourself, no one can beat me. Not today. It's not going to happen. I'm going out there. You're going to have to kill me to take me out there, to take me today. The difference between me and you is how far are you prepared to go? So I don't mean kill literally, obviously, but that mindset is what you need to be a fighter, I think. So, of course, Groves, the opponent, George Groves. We all know about George. 2 epic fights with Carl Froch. Put Froch down on the canvas, didn't he? But lost them both. The second one to a brutal knockout. That day when he got knocked out the second time, and his leg buckled under him, and the way he went down, I just thought, this is a career-defining moment for you, boy. This is where you look at this fight afterwards and you assess yourself and you say, am I really ready for this now? Have I got the heart? I think he's going to find that out on February 17th, if I'm honest. Let's look. As I say, they're labelling this the Battle of Britain. Let's just look at some of their stats, just general stats, and see how they compare. And you'll be surprised, considering how long Groves seems to have been around to how long Eubank's been around. Seems to have been around anyway. So Groves has had 30 fights, Eubank 27. There's only 3 between them. It's quite interesting. Groves has had 186 rounds and Eubank 157. 29 rounds different. Knockout percentage. This is an interesting one because everyone knows that Groves is a banger. Everybody knows that he can, he's a strong lad and he's got a punch. So his knockout percentage is 67%. Eubank Jr.'s is 74%. Both 5'11". In fact, Groves is 5'11.5". There's half inch difference in there, and the reach 72 and 72.5. So Eubank has just got a half an inch longer reach. I don't think that's going to make a great deal of difference in this fight, to be honest. I think it's going to come down to much more than sort of bodily statistics. Of course, we know Groves beat James DeGale some time ago, which was a nice one to have under your belt. And he recently, this is where it gets interesting, why it's such a big fight for both of them, but it's such a big fight for Eubank at such an early age, because not only is this fight for the WB Super Series, this is also for the WBA Super World Title Super Middleweight, which George Groves won, I think, a week before. I think it was a week before Eubank had his fight to get to this quarterfinal. And Groves beat Jamie Cox in 4 rounds. That was his first defence of the title that he fought so hard to get. Eubank Jr. stopped Avni Yildirim, should I say, in 3 rounds at Stuttgart a week later. Groves is the older man. Eubank's younger. Eubank lost to Billy Joe Saunders. Groves lost to Froch twice. As I say, I think that took an awful lot out of him. He also lost subsequently to Jack Bader as well. Now, the thing is, I was watching the press conference yesterday, and I didn't like what I saw when I saw Groves. His body language, his demeanour just seemed as if he had given up the fight and he had accepted that he was going to lose, and that he had accepted that Eubank was fitter, stronger, faster, hungrier. It was I personally thought it was a strange, very strange press conference, and it just looked like he didn't want to be there, didn't feel comfortable. And it was, if you look at the body language of the two of them, you can just see how confident Eubank Jr. is. Of course, his dad was there backing him up, as he always is these days, as well, which may have had an effect. I don't know. But, something troubles me, because everything tells me that Eubank's not ready for this yet. That's what my head tells me. He hasn't got the experience. He hasn't been in with the same caliber of opponent that Groves has up to this point. He hasn't won a world title. He hasn't fought for a world title. He hasn't fought at that level. But my heart is telling me Groves is already accepting defeat. And if, as I said to you earlier on in this video, if you go through that ring, step through those ropes thinking, I might lose this guy's stronger than me, this guy's faster than me, that's half the fight, I think. It's too early to predict. I think at the moment I need to give a true prediction as to how the night will go. If I had to call it now, if they had to fight tomorrow, looking at them, I put a stoppage. Eubank to stop Groves round about round 7. Knock him out. That's what I think. I think Eubank's phenomenal in his style from what I've seen. We'll wait and see where that goes. But I've always liked Groves. I like Groves' style. I like the way he stalks his fighters, and he's sort of slightly stooped and doesn't move the guard. It's almost like that, very fast jab, bang bang, lots of power, punches from gives it the whole lot. But I don't know. Something is telling me this won't be your night, George. And I think this will be the night to start seriously considering where you go. I don't want to put the mockers on anything, and well, that's how it is. So that's my view so far. I'll probably do another video as we get a little bit nearer the date. Please have a listen to this. Please give me the thumbs up or the thumbs down. I hope you liked it. Please subscribe to my channel. Please leave a comment, and please watch again. Thanks for watching. Bye now.